Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to go over MSI2024, the series between G2 and Top Esports. G2 would win this one 3-0 in pretty decisive fashion. My comment section reminds me a lot of Worlds when NRG beat G2 and I predicted G2 to win, and the LCS fans had fun time in the comment section, and G2 fans are now. And it reminds me of my stance then, and I'm going to hold true to it now, and I'm going to double down and say I still think Top Esports are better than G2. Just like I said, I thought G2 was still better than NRG. Because in the end, it is the better team on the day, and G2 showed up, Top Esports did not. So G2 move on, Top Esports go home. So, game one, we have G2 splitting grubs with Top Esports, neither team taking all six. We didn't have many games like that where this occurred, and it was something that I felt like I should mention because we're tracking it. Laning phase ended about 14-15. 369 had the advantage over Broken Blade, 900 gold, 8 CS, and solo killed him. G2 would go to top lane twice in the first 14 minutes. Top Esports once, so 369 gets that advantage, even though he was harassed more than Broken Blade was. Now, the big diffy occurred in the bot lane. So Han Sama certainly got the better of Jackie Love, as did Mickey over Mako, the duos. Certainly there was a diffy. There's no way around that. Jackie Love and Mako, in my opinion, didn't show up. Disrespected the Leona level 1. They got the kill early, and there was just a snowball effect from there that G2 just didn't have to, G2 just kept rolling. Top Esports had no answer. So at 14-15, there was actually a 3K gold lead combined between Caps, Hans, and Mickey. So the bot side of the Rift and then mid lane were clearly ahead by quite a bit. Drakes all secured by G2. They took the Baron, got a 1600 power play, but ended this game, and it was not close. Honestly, in my opinion, this series, you could argue was a bigger diffy than the PSG G2 series, where I said that one wasn't a blowout. I felt like that one was actually closer than this one, to be honest. So that occurred, and like I said, Hans Sama and Mickey had a couple 2v2 kills, and that's really what got things going for G2 in game one. 369 can have an advantage all he wants, but in the end, he was not as effective as BB in the mid to late game team fights throughout this entire series. But in terms of laning, I am going to give the edge to 369 in this series. Game two, big diffy. And in part, I blame Tien, and then I also am going to blame 369. So, game two, 15-15 laning phase. And a massive difference in the bot lane as the Kog'Maw bot lane dominated up 3.4k gold at 15 minutes, 34 CS over Jackie Love Mako. It was really, really disgusting. We saw Tien attempt to dive, and the team just fell apart from there because, they lost that skirmish, and that would snowball from there, and G2 would just kind of roll with it and end the game once again. Like, it was very reminiscent of game one, that the bot lane gets ahead and the bot lane snowballs and wins. And 369 is ahead in top lane, but cannot do enough in the mid to late game team fights to make a difference. In game two, he was up 1.5k gold, 42 CS. Top Esports did go topside twice, and G2 did not at all. At the moment that Top Esports did the first time, the gold was pretty even, but BB had Twisted Fate, so he should have been ahead more, and he wasn't. So that matchup was the way it was, but in the end, yike. 32 CS ahead of Tien, and more effective. He went to mid twice, getting Caps in a decent spot, because Cream did solo kill Caps in game two, but Caps' Tristana was just disgusting. I love mid lane Tristana, I really do. It's a champion that I really enjoy seeing on the Rift, so I'm happy to see that him turn that around even after getting solo killed and making things happen with it, getting around the Rift. Unfortunately, we saw another LPL Corki. Not very strong LPL Corkis. We look at the win rates across the four major regions throughout the year, and Corki in the LPL had like a below 40% win rate last time I looked. It might have been like towards the end of the regular season, it was like 37%. Like, it was absolutely terrible. And the fact that for some reason Top Esports prioritized Corky Mid in games 2 and 3 was puzzling. And I think that in part you have to look at the Top Esports coaching staff, a very inexperienced one, especially in a tournament like this. Maybe some draft blunders there. In terms of grubs, split 3-3. Drake's 2-1 in favor of G2, and G2 had a 5,000 gold power play, very effective to get the job done. Game 3 was the most competitive, but in the mid to late game, the Baron fight, G2 forced top's hand, and 369 was on the other side of the rift on Udyr, and it was a 4v5, and by the time he got there, G2 had taken the Baron, and then they end with that Baron. I mean, it was as simple as that. Very effective sieging. In Game 3, I mean, laning phase was forever. It took 17 minutes and 45 seconds for the first turret to fall. Top Esports would take 2 pretty much simultaneously. Broken Blade did return the favor, solo killing 369 in Game 3. G2 did go topside twice. Top Esports not at all. Top Esports focused mid lane 3 times. In the case of Tien, trying to get Cream in a good position, but didn't make a difference because Caps was ahead 400 gold and 21 CS. So you can go to mid lane all you want if you're Mako or you're Tien. In the end, it didn't matter. Cream still lost lane by a lot. In the bot lane 2v2, Jackie Love Mako did get a 2v2 kill. And we're up 1.3k gold at about 18 minutes. But around 21 minutes, if I recall, Hansam was able to cash in on Draven, and that turned the game. Once the Draven got gold, the damage started coming in a lot more consistently, and, G2 were able to push the envelope, get a couple more kills, set themselves up for vision around Baron, and able to take the Baron right in Top Esports' face because it was 4v5. At the end of lane, Top were in a good position. They had all the grubs, they had Rift Herald, they had a couple Drakes the first 2, but then G2 took the next 2. Now, PSG at least had a sole point situation in their series. Top Esports, they couldn't even get that far. It was a piss poor performance by Top, and like I said, I don't think the bot lane for sure did not show up. And by Game 3, you can show up all you want on Callista Camille, but the series was already lost by that point, in my opinion. Power play was over 7,000 gold, very effective. Of course, there were kills around the Nexus, and in part, I do think G2 stats, they are one of the teams that do run up the score more than others. But, neither here nor there. They were dominant today. Top Esports just absolutely sucked. And in my opinion, it was not the normal Top Esports that we watch play League of Legends. So, plays 11-9 in favor of G2. G2 more effective. They went top side and bot side more than the Top Esports. Actually, bot side 5 times. Top Esports focusing mid 4 times, 3 times in Game 3 specifically, trying to bail Kareem out against Caps. Grubs 10-5 in favor of Top Esports, but Rift Herald's 2-1 in favor of G2. Drake's 8-3 in favor of G2, and they had all 3 power plays with over 4,500 gold each on average. Big stat. So Broken Blade led the way in damage, which was impressive. Over 800 DPM for a top laner. Like I said, the mid to late game team fights, BB really affected the Rift, where the team, once again, Top Esports not really utilizing 369 quite to the level that you'd like. And 369, like I said, not performing the way that he needed to with those advantages he built up in the laning phase. If you are given the ball, you have to run with it. Which is why I don't blame Tien necessarily for Game 2 outside of, he did start the fire in bot lane. There's no doubt about it. But top side of the Rift, he did give 369 an opportunity to try and 1v9 this game, and it just wasn't going to happen. So BB, 16-3, 18, 29% of damage. Yike, very strong, 5-1, 43. Cream led in damage for Top Esports, but he went 2 kills, 14 deaths, 6 assists. 32% of damage. I hope that this does not affect him long term and something that he can just kind of forget about and go into summer. It is tough to kind of look at the LPL going into summer. I'm not going to lie. I hate their new schedule, and it has nothing to do with the Fearless Draft, although I think Fearless Draft helps the West. if the East is worried about Fearless Draft as the West are doing what, is going to be the style of play at Worlds. But it's this schedule. The schedule is an absolute abomination. I hate that schedule beyond comprehension. So, preview for tomorrow, Team Liquid T1. Bit of a diffy here, in my opinion, in terms of hands, but, who knows. Worlds 2023, they played. T1 would beat TL. That was the game where Pioshik kind of showed everybody, hey, I'm still LCK level. I did just win Worlds last year, and now I'm in North America. Free me, and that's what happened. So, in the win for T1, Faker, Guma, Keria went 9-8-24 with 56% of the team's damage. APA, Yeon, Core JJ went 8-10-10, 60% of damage in the loss. Like I said, Pioshik was on TL at the time, now Umpty is, and then Summit was there, and now Impact replaced Summit. Summit now on Rainbow 7 in Latin America. In terms of the laning phases, Faker got the better of APA in that one, up about 370 gold, 10 CS, 680 XP. Bot duo Guma Keria were ahead 1,173 gold, 14 CS, and nearly 1,300 XP against Yeon Core JJ. Let's look at how these teams are approaching draft. So on here we have the most commonly banned champions by and against both of these teams, and we're going to try and find some similarities. There are less than yesterday. I thought there'd be some more, but these teams really have different ideas of what are must bans, I guess, in the current landscape and things like that. So in top lane, we had 4 bans. Camille banned by TL, so they didn't want to play against Camille. We also have Camille support, so keep that in mind. They banned Twisted Fate, a champion that is also banned often against T1. So will we see Twisted Fate banned tomorrow? I would assume so, because teams already were banning it against T1 to begin with, and TL liked banning it, so it kind of makes sense. Jax banned against T1. That is a flex pick between top and jungle. And then Rumble is banned against T1. In the jungle, we have 5 picks, and technically 6 if you want to include Jax. So Vi is banned by both teams, so I imagine it's either pick or ban tomorrow. Viego and Xin Zhao tend to be banned by Team Liquid. They don't really like playing into Viego Xin Zhao. And then Volley Bear was banned against them, a champion that Umpty really played with a lot in playoffs. And then Sejuani is banned by T1 quite a bit. And who knows, I think Umpty played Sejuani at this tournament, so maybe T1 bans it again. Mid lane, we have the bulk of the picks. We have 7 mid laners here. And that's in part due to banning out APA. I still think that is the best strategy. I know Yeon Core JJ got the better of Noah June, but I would say that's still the best course of action. So LeBlanc tends to be banned by Team Liquid. I don't know if it's going to be banned against Faker or not. Although it's one of his most known champions, he doesn't really play it. He hasn't really played it a lot in the last couple of years, relative to players that play LeBlanc a lot. Now, banned against Team Liquid, the 3: Taliyah, Aurelion, Sol, Ziggs. Aurelion, Sol, Ziggs a little more important than Taliyah, but if you want to ban Taliyah, you can. And then T1, 3 different bans. So Ari, a champion that T1 doesn't really like playing into. They usually ban out Ari. But then they face Azir Orianna bans, people trying to knock down Faker's champion pool when he's played more champions than anybody else in League history, I believe. So, although esports history. So, I feel like that's a fool's errand. But, teams still do it. So, and if they win, it's seen as effective. So, I mean, it is what it is. Bot lane bans. Nobody. So Team Liquid not really worried about banning bot laners either way. Draven, Lucian banned by T1. I feel like those picks are either pick ban for them. I imagine. Well, Keria's Nami is not the greatest of all time. So I mean, Draven's probably pick or ban for Guma though. Senna tends to be banned against T1 because of Keria's champion pool. If you allow Senna bot to go down there, it could get kind of creative. Supports, we have 2 bans on Nautilus. So Only Twisted Fate, Vi, and Nautilus are the 3 champions that cross for both teams. Both teams see Nautilus as a situation that is seen in their drafts as banned. So people didn't want to play against Core JJ's Nautilus, and T1 bans Nautilus. So we could see Vi and Nautilus, Twisted Fate, Vi, Nautilus involved in the first 6 bans tomorrow morning, just based on how these 2 teams have approached draft and how draft has affected them this entire tournament thus far. So we'll see if there's emphasis on mid lane. 7 of these bans are in mid, out of 21 champions. So that's quite a lot when you have 5 roles. And then it's followed up by jungle with 5, top lane with 4, AD carry with 3, and support with 2. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.